Right people, camothestig back. Promised I was going to show you how to get a trigger underwater at sea. I mean, you can place these triggers anywhere. I'm going to place one on top of a UFO if I can, but you'll be that close to it you won't be able to identify it as a UFO until you're back out of the job, and you will drown. But you get the drift. There's shipwrecks, there's everything in the bottom of the ocean. I don't know why everybody in Korea are messing about, because you know, Grand Theft Auto is a great game, and they'll give you these tools to do what you. And I've got this way of getting triggers underwater, deep out at sea, not just near little shallow bits, like this, where you do a little land race, and you can trick the trigger into water a little bit. I'm talking about deep out into the sea. People are under the illusion that you've got to have the trigger, which is this thing here. You've got to have that next to that, or near that, so you can get the first starting grid in, but it's bollocks. Right, there's my trigger. If you're doing it deep at sea, you're going to have to go to an island. I'll put your trigger on land first off, like this. Right. Here's a little thing I prepared earlier. It's just, everybody knows how to get 3 of these up. Right, but they've got to be flat. And then you go to checkpoints, and you put a second checkpoint in, or a first checkpoint. Try to get it under it if possible, like that. Put that down. Then you go back to your trigger. Well, you don't have to go back to your trigger. You go to your trigger, like that, and you place it there. Do you hear it? I've got my trigger there. If you look on my mini map, that's where now the start point is. But I've got number 1. So what you do is you go down here, delete options, delete all checkpoints. Yeah, you've deleted them. Right, checkpoints, it's going to be the start grid again. You put your start grid somewhere close or whatever, and carry on your race, whatever you want to do. You can make it a land race if you want, but the only thing is, in the creator, you've got to be able to test the race. So if you wanted to build a bridge from deep out at sea to land, I suppose you could, but it's best if you want to get triggers right at bottom at sea, in shipwrecks and places like that. I mean, the sea is your oyster, if you like. There's loads of things at bottom at sea. You can have triggers, and people will be amazed if you build a race and there's a trigger at bottom, and there's 16, even 32 of you stood on a UFO or stood in a shipwreck under the water. They think, how the crap has he done this? And this is how you do it. And I'll show you in a bit what it looks like when it's done. But I'm not going to show you right now because it takes a little bit too long. Go back to your props. You see your trigger's already set in there, so you don't need it. You can get rid of that. So now when this race starts, say I was to build this race, you would all start at the bottom of the ocean, and you're quite far from land. You know what I mean? We're quite far from land. You can do it right out here. You can make it where you like. You know what I'm saying? I hope you got that. Quite easy. So you can put the trigger next to any checkpoint you like. As long as there's a checkpoint near it, doesn't have to be near the start grid. Right, I'll show you what it looks like in a bit. Right, camothestig out for now. Right people, I've showed you how to get a trigger underwater. As your title of this might show you, I've built one and I've tried to get the trigger on top of a UFO. But I do really think from this view you're going to see, well, yeah, you can see a bit of the UFO. She can't, she's at the wrong side of it. If I flick through to her, look, she's on top of the UFO. Eh? How crackers is this? She's at the wrong side of it to see it. She's looking wrong there, silly cow. There's UFO. Right, I'm going to try back out camothestig and you'll get a better view. There you go. She spawned back in, and she's above the UFO, and I think I've spawned in online. But I'm going to drown. There you go. That's how you get a trigger on top of a UFO, people. Right, camothestig out for this. I'll be back. Whoa.